One match played on Nepal so far. Both of them, though, have the 100% win rate on Nepal. So that's going to be broken to start things off.
Yes, well, that's normally how it works. Yeah, Blank Blue, I don't know, do you have a prediction here, Jordan? I would think that this should probably be like a 3-1 to Blank. At the start of the season, I would have said a 4-0 to Blank. But Legacy's been working hard, and Blank's had maybe 1 or 2 setbacks. So.
Definitely. I would probably say I'm going with Blank Blue here. I think Hanamura might be the weakness for Blank, and Legacy have some good results on that one. So that might be where I see an upset coming in here for those guys. But let's see how they go on Nepal. Going to be starting off here on Village, and both teams with a very, very similar composition. The Reinhardt, the Reaper, something that we've been seeing come to the fore throughout this sort of late stages of the season. And the fight begins with Gob going down early on in the piece. A great pick for Legacy. And now all they need to do is play that advantage and make the fight swing in their favour.
Yeah, we've seen a ton of a Reinhardt Reaper, as you've said, and it's really who plays those Earth Shatters better, Jordan. They're trying to work onto the point to kick things off. Legacy doing okay. You can see now that Coalescence coming out from Antar, and that might just turn things around into Blank's favour.
Yeah, definitely that, but also I've got to say I think the fact that Dench got picked off pretty early on in the piece there as well was not a great sign for Legacy Esports. Obviously, they got the first kill. That was onto Gob, but then pretty much straight after that, they lost one of their healers, and it's kind of a toss-up there. It's like, oh, well, would I rather lose my Reinhardt or would I rather lose my Lucio? An argument can be made for both sides there, but with that lack of extra healing and I guess the mobility as well that the Lucio does provide for that sort of deathball composition, Legacy were caught out, and Blank Blue came away with the fight victory.
Talking about getting caught out there, we will see the hook coming through. And a Death Blossom in the background as well. You see Cinderella actually getting picked up by the self-destruct, so that is quite crucial. Blank Blue losing a number of players, now only 3 alive, all of them looking quite low on HP. This should allow Legacy to recapture the point, which they will do at 32% for Blank.
But the Death Blossom is still up for Micro. Gob also coming up shortly on the Earth Shatter, so that's a big power play available to Blank Blue, probably in the next fight, and Legacy doesn't have a whole lot to hold off on that, unless Dench can get that sound barrier up, and assuming he doesn't get hit by the Earth Shatter as well. At this point, really, I think the next fight is just going to come down to if Dench can get that sound barrier off or if Cinderella can get the Earth Shatter before Gob. But even then, the next fight probably goes the way of Blank Blue, so it'll be a stalling phase. And you can see Legacy, they're hunting for that Earth Shatter.
Yeah, you really want to get in there and make use of that ultimate. And if you can hit a crucial Earth Shatter, it will change the round. Look at this. Going through self-destruct now. Oh. Huge 3 kills. That shield was so low as the self-destruct was about to go off. You can hear the Coalescence in the background. But Blank now down to only 1 player as the rest of them respawn. The recapture again coming now out to Legacy. And wow.
Yeah, that was pretty good from Legacy. Obviously, they've burnt quite a few of the powerful ultimates of Blank Blue. They've used a couple of their own, but, you know, they're coming up on some pretty big ones as well. There's the Death Blossom available, Coalescence for Strawbella. This is actually looking really good right now for Legacy Esports. They've flipped the point back in their favour. It's ticking away for them. And Blank Blue have got some real hard work to do now for the last sort of 50% that they need to get.
Going to want to execute here. Behind the Coalescence, you can hear both the Death Blossom going off and then the Coalescence in the background coming through the other way. Gob goes down. Strawbella doing the damage there with Coalescence going back from Legacy.
Well,
an impressive hold so far.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good right now for Legacy with that D-Mech, and Skull popping out the self-destruct as well, forcing Blank Blue back. The reinforcements starting to charge back in there. You can see the Reinhardts are trying to get back into this fight, but really at the moment, it is just the D.Va to offer protection for their respective teams. And Caramel Koala throwing out the whole hog here just to keep Blank Blue away from that point. It's been a very prolonged fight, but I still feel like it's favoring Legacy right now.
Self-destruct coming through, pushing through the Death Blossom. Will they find any kills? Not this time around.
Oh, that's big.
Micro. There you go. Dench picked up in the background. Sign going to get that one. You can hear another Coalescence coming up from Strawbella. So quickly, you can see these Coalescence getting put through. Anta gains ultimate charge at a disgusting rate here, Jordan.
Yeah, certainly does. Also, not to mention the Reapers are getting some very quick ultimate charges as well. We've got a lot of big fat tanks to shoot at, so those go up pretty quickly. Now, the flip has come across from Blank Blue. Again, the pick onto Dench was probably the linchpin there for Blank Blue. But Legacy, they still have a good opportunity, a lot of time to play with to try and recapture this point as well. 2 tank ultis. Probably see the Earth Shatter followed up by the self-destruct here for Legacy. There's not a whole lot else past that, though. So if they can't make that one work, they might have a little bit of trouble getting in here.
Yeah, Blank going to drop in off the high ground. You can see. Oh, there's the Earth Shatter. A great Earth Shatter coming out from Gob. and that will clean up Legacy here. This is going to make life a lot more difficult.
Indeed it is, but there is still enough time here for Legacy, and the key takeaway is that they haven't thrown anything into that one. So it was a preemptive Earthshatter out from Gob, a very good one, in fact. You got pretty much all of Legacy, but Legacy have not invested anything into that fight, so they still have one more shot here. They don't have a huge amount of time to work with, but this is still doable for Legacy.
This should come down to 99-99, Jordan, and they're going to have to get on the point real quick. The charge comes through.
Oh, it's too big.
Oh my goodness,
huge.
Cinderella's gone. Coming out from the self-destruct from Adam. Now, Legacy may not be able to fight this one out. Sign finds another. Blank Blue. That's 3 now. This should be it. The overtime should end. Blank should get round 1.
That was a great passage of play for Blank Blue. Absolutely stellar. They knew what the win condition was for Legacy. That was the Earthshatter, and that was the self-destruct combination with it. And they spotted out Cinderella. Gob, with a very, very good charge, gets Cinderella. The self-destruct to follow up there from Blank Blue as well. Adam doing a good job to, counteract with his tank or work with his tank buddy. And Blank Blue, wow, they pull a victory, potentially from the jaws of defeat. And it's just off that one small play. A really, really nice charge from Gob.
That was a huge play coming out from Gob. The fact that if he dives in there and gets picked, they really have no defense against the Earthshatter coming back out.
Yeah, but he had to do it because he knew that they weren't going to be able to hold on long enough. If his shield goes down and the Earthshatter's still up, Blank Blue lose that fight. So he decides to take matters into his own hands. He knows those win conditions for Legacy and wins the round there for Blank Blue. That's one individual play, one big one for Blank Blue to start things off. And now Legacy facing a deficit. It was close, and you could definitely see some good signs from Legacy.
Yeah, it was actually really impressive from Legacy overall to think that that is what it required to turn it around and get Blank that win. So we'll see how they go. Round number 2 here on Nepal. And Wuvo
that's
going to start things off here on the Pharah.
That's actually
finding a boop. Gob going down as well. So great start from Legacy.
Couldn't really ask for much of a better start, to be honest. They get the pull. They pull the Winston in. He goes down the hole. And then the D.Va gets knocked off the edge as well by Wuvo. So it's a very, very free cap point for Legacy. And Blank Blue right now, they don't have anything to deal with this Pharah. As of yet, have not swapped off anything either. Micro under a bit of pressure here, but he's going to dash out to safety.
Yeah, well, that's it. If Wuvo can stay nice and high, it's very difficult for Blank to really deal with him here. Maybe they're trying to force their way into the point. See ya later, Gob. Wuvo with another boop off the side.
Yeah, well, Wuvo knew. He saw that the jump came in from Gob. He's thinking, well, how's he going to get out of the hole if I knock him in? Well, the answer is he isn't. He's going to just keep falling in the hole. There's a pulse bomb out from somebody. It was Signed. Maybe that means Signed is going to swap off here onto something else. A Soldier might not be a bad idea. McCree even to deal with this Pharah, but no.
There
yes,
he
is.
McCree.
In fact, actually going to
answer.
McCree. And I mean, I was going to say, I didn't think that was a great usage of the pulse bomb because it was too late. There was not going to be anything that Blank Blue would really get out of it, but in the end, he just wants to swap up anyway. They want to deal with Wuvo, and Wuvo's having a great game. Really not being under pressure at all.
Concussive blast all the way.
Oh,
Jordan.
no!
See ya later. Once again, comes back up. Going to be forced onto the point.
Yeah.
There's no way to get out from there, right? You're essentially going to get eliminated one way or the other unless your entire team dives on board. You can hear the Dragon Blade in the background. That's Micro charging through. So far, not finding anything. Wuvo going to be the one to clean him up.
Oh, my goodness me.
Using the barrage as well. And look at this Legacy. So confident here on this point.
Yeah, Blank Blue really need to change something up right now because they are just getting picked off. Skull is having a fantastic time on the Roadhog right now. It just seems like every single fight happens. Well, he's getting a hook out of it. Now Micro's going to go onto the Tracer instead of the Genji. So we've got a Tracer back for Blank Blue. But I'm not so sure how helpful that is going to be. They're really having troubles. Look at this again.
Oh, man. D.Va surely gets out of that one. But you can see Adam so damaged up right now.
Exactly.
Cannot get caught out.
In perfect positions here, Ben, to win all of these fights. Blank Blue, they can't deal with the combo between the Holt and the hook.
You can see not even really an opportunity to use too many ultimates coming out from Blank either. You can see the sound barrier now coming through from Legacy onto the point. Wuvo finally goes down, requiring that ultimate, the self-destruct from Adam. Adam here on the point, trying to knock people off. Won't find anyone, will get DMEC. Adam almost getting knocked back off as well. Cinderella, you can see holding the point, staying alive. Trying to jump back and forward, do that dance between the barrier, Jordan. Cinderella now resurrected. That's going to make life very, very difficult here from Blank. You think at this point, surely they give up this round.
This is probably the best I've seen Legacy play so far, and that's the best I've ever seen that composition played in AU Contenders as well. Typically, I would say I'm more of a fan of the dive composition, which is what we saw Blank Blue running. But we saw Legacy perfectly execute their composition.
Well,
they knew their win conditions.
When did they even dive, Jordan? How often did they even get an opportunity? They were getting picked every time before there was a chance.
Exactly. Every single fight, and before every single fight even really started there, Legacy would be able to find that hook. Whether it got a kill or whether it didn't, it was enough of an advantage that Legacy was able to find a fairly comfortable win there. They go 100-0 on the second round of Nepal, and now we're on to round 3, and this matchup certainly starting to deliver. It's getting very exciting early on in the piece.
It is. We move on to Shrine. Well, we'll see how Blank Blue goes under pressure, Jordan, because they haven't been pressured all that much this season. Just that one matchup. This time, it's against a team that they would have thought that they should be able to beat. We'll see how they can deal with this.
Legacy definitely has been working very hard recently to improve their skills, and it's been working. It's showing right now, Ben. They're really putting it to Blank Blue and might even win this first map here. Micro has swapped off onto the Sombra. Might make a bit of a difference here for Blank.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that this Sombra play from Micro will make the difference. You can see they're already up to 30%. The point about to unlock. Legacy have lost Caramel Koala, but Blank have lost Gob as well. So not sure which one is the most. Yeah, well, that's it. No tanks makes life very tough.
Yeah, the mech has come back, though, from Adam, and Blank Blue starting to gain a little bit more control here, but still Legacy have the advantage on the point. Pulse Bomb out very quickly, though, from Signed, and that might prove to be the difference here as Blank Blue start to clean up this first fight. Legacy dropping across the board.
Yeah, pick after pick coming now for Blank, so this theoretically should get them the first point across. Legacy starting to come back. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 ultimates ready to go as well.
Yeah, exactly. So despite the fact that Blank do camp away that first point, Legacy have been able to clear up their ultimates a little bit faster. Wuvo does go down, which is a little bit unfortunate there for Legacy. Had he not, they would have been able to get a bit of a quicker push in here. But really, at the end of the day, it is still early days here in round 3. And Blank's only going to get up to sort of 25%, 30% before we start to see Legacy push back in onto this point. But you have to expect Legacy in with a really good chance of recapturing this point, particularly if Wuvo can get a good EMP off to start the fight.
Yeah, they should almost be at 6 ults coming through for this one. Talking about Legacy. Yeah, hack coming through. Are we going to see the translocated bomb over the top? Maybe not even need to. EMP, there we go. Hunter picked up straight away. There's only so much you can do when you can't do anything at all. Look at this, one by one. Getting very damaged across the board. Micro does come back out with an EMP of his own. You can see that sound barrier coming through too now for Legacy. Still 2 ultimates available, but they've used up 4. So that is quite a considerable input here by Legacy.
Yeah, it was a good start to the fight for Legacy, but now they just need to clean things up and start getting some cap points on the board, because Blank already up to about 60% by the time that Legacy does flip that one across. And Micro, I thought it was a fairly ineffective EMP. The fight was already well on its way in the favour of Legacy. Might have been better off using it to start the next fight here. And you've got to feel for Hunter in that one as well, because really, what are you going to do? When you get EMP'd, there's a Sombra on top of you and then a Winston chasing up behind that as well. He just goes down, and I mean, there's nothing that he can do there, so that's fair enough. But now, tough yards ahead for Blank, because they need to retake the point.
They certainly do. Maybe they have an ultimate advantage. We'll see how this plays out. Sign pushes through. As long as that trance, though, makes life very difficult to find those picks here onto Blank. Hunter still alive for now. Sign still hasn't used his Pulse Bomb. Only 19 HP, trying to chase down the tanks. But Caramel Koala gets the better of him. Adam onto 1. At the moment, Legacy have lost 1 more player. That should even it up. They're still on the point, still ticking away. EMP!
Oh, no.
Jordan already. Wuvo's managed to find that back.
I'm not so sure about that EMP there for Wuvo, but it seems like they had a few reinforcements coming in. That's probably why the call does come across. But again, I think it's a case of the fight was already lost for Legacy, and that was just a big ultimate thrown away there by Legacy. Wuvo's going to have to jump off the edge as the flip does come across for Blank Blue. So Legacy, they almost equalised, but they're going to need to do a little bit better than that now to overtake Blank Blue, because it's starting to get close for Blank Blue, closing this one out 2-1. The issue in the last fight for them, Ben, was the Strawbella early on in the piece really got tagged down quite heavily by the Tracer of Blank Blue and couldn't keep herself alive long enough in that fight. So that was the opening that Blank Blue saw, and they took it. Now it's time for Legacy to show us what they've got here again in one more push.
A good Coalescence here could really help out Strawbella. There you go. It's going to be popped right now. Coalescence coming through. You can see Cinderella does have that orb on them, however, so you've got to be real careful with that one. Self-destruct finds nobody. Everyone's still alive. Cinderella looking low, getting healed up. Strawbella down. Wuvo almost down. Self-destruct coming out from Skull. Should be able to get that mech back right now. And Sign finds 2. Jordan Blank you would think, well, here, should be able to clean this up and find the first map.
Yeah, the focus just not quite there from Legacy in that final fight. They couldn't manage to get on top of the healers. They couldn't get any picks, anything like that. And you could see Blank Blue from the outset had the better positioning, and they had more damage coming out onto the key targets of Legacy than what Legacy was able to put out of their own. And so it's going to be 2-1 for Blank Blue after the first few rounds, and control does go their way.
But it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was actually really impressed with a lot of what we saw from Legacy, and that makes sense. We heard the ultimate golf originally, and we heard Micro go down, but I didn't see that it was from the barrage in the end. So, Blank come out with the win. Legacy looking about as strong, though, as we'd hoped that they would be.
Yeah, definitely. They're looking really strong, actually. In fact, I feel like they've really contested Blank Blue there. So just some little things that maybe could have been done better. And on the same side, Blank Blue, I think there was a few things that could have been done better. I feel like there was a few ultimates that was wasted on both sides. All in all, not major deals, but if you want to maybe get that upset win over a team like Blank Blue for Legacy, everything needs to be perfection, essentially. So they've still got plenty of opportunities here. That is only map 1, but being at a deficit early on in the piece is not going to be fun. They'd much rather have that safety net of an extra map to play with here.
Wouldn't you? That's it's always how you want it to play out. And I guess, right, it's one thing when you find yourself, well, you know, we can't win that map, but when they're one apiece there after the first one, to be fair,
definitely was winnable.
To be fair, considering how the first round went there as well over on Village, Jordan, Village could have gone the other way.
Yeah, certainly. Like, it was a very, very close map. And like I said, it's just the tiny little things maybe that we saw Blank Blue do a little bit better there than Legacy. Obviously, that pick from Gob in Village, and then maybe some wasted ultimates on the side of Legacy on the final point. So those little things, if they could have been shored up for Legacy, might have netted themselves a win. Unfortunately, not this time, but who knows? Maybe by playoffs or maybe in Map 2, they're going to be able to make things look a little bit nicer for themselves.
Well, maybe. And when we talk about Map 2, let's go and take a look at what that one will be. Numbani, no Hollywood today, alas. I don't know why I get disappointed, Jordan. I don't know what I expect. I enjoy Numbani as well, so I'm not sure why I get disappointed when it's not Hollywood. I feel like there's more upsets on Hollywood for some reason.
Yeah, I probably would agree with you. It's just a feeling, I guess, the gut feeling more so than anything quantifiable.
Normally my gut feelings are like, oh, I want a burger. But, you know, today it was like, oh, maybe more people win on Hollywood from behind. Anyway.
Different strokes.
Yeah, that's it. Into the game. Wow. This gives me hope, though, Jordan. It gives me hope for a close series.
Yep.
And it gives me hope for Legacy leading into playoffs, irrespective of where they end up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Legacy's looking really, really good, but we have to see a little bit more. It is only one map gone so far, so while we can praise Legacy for that one, if they can only do it on control, it's going to be irrelevant, really, at the end of the day. For Blank Blue, they've looked okay as well, and they're going to be starting off on the defensive side by looks of things.
Legacy on attack, Blank on defense, Elfish guy. Looks to me, look at it, we've got Wubo on the Pharah, Caramel Koala here on the Soldier. So it will be interesting to see where they choose to play each of these heroes.
Yep, fairly
how they want to do it.
stuff.
High ground coming through. Will knock everyone off, force everyone off the high ground here on attack, Jordan. Should allow them onto the point 4 now. Going to fight back a little bit earlier. People pushing through. Gob down to 50%, but Caramel Koala really is the one to talk about, getting picked up very early on in the piece.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Legacy just backing off that fight pretty early on in the piece. That works out fine. I was going to say, I'm not so sure how the Soldier really fits into this composition when you've got a lot of verticality out on the rest of the Legacy guys. What is the Soldier going to be able to do and jump up there? He's not, essentially, and he just gets dived there by Gob, which is good for Blank Blue. And Legacy have incidentally swapped off quite quickly onto the Tracer, which does offer a little bit more mobility here to the Legacy roster. Now starting to look a little bit better as Micro does get dropped fairly low, but healed up pretty quickly as well. One tick already in the favour of Legacy.
Yeah, you can hear the Drain Blade coming out from behind as well. That one's Micro chasing through. Tension's gone down, looking for another kill. Cinderella, see you later. Skull actually finds 2. That's a nice kill. But there you go, Blank Blue cleaning up 2 more, making life just that little bit more difficult. Legacy trying to trickle back in, but it looks like that will be the end of that push. That was better. I think the Tracer helped out a little bit more. As you said, a bit more you can do. You can help with the dive. You can help getting on top.
Yep. A little bit better there definitely from Legacy. But for Blank Blue, was a nice Dragon Blade out from Micro. However, now they don't have that to play with in the next fight, and Legacy's coming up on a few ultimates. Unta going to be pretty critical here now for Blank Blue with the Transcendence once he does get that, because he could be the make or break for this defensive Blank. If he goes down or if he doesn't get a good Transcendence off, Legacy might just come away with this by pure virtue of having extra ultis to play with.
You can hear the Valkyrie coming out of Transcendence, goes the other way, and there's the self-destruct over the top. Won't find anyone this time around. Pulse Bomb doesn't get anything either. They're still on the point. Halfway through, Jordan 46.6%, but one by one, it looks maybe like Legacy's starting to lose players. You can see Wuvo did get resurrected, still pushing through. Micro down to 50% as well, still trying to fight on the point. This has been quite a protracted fight. Wuvo now going down for the second time, followed up by Cinderella. Sign goes down in the background, continue to push through, still only at about 45%, really haven't gained much here at all, and now with 90 seconds on the clock, Legacy forced to fall back.
Yeah, starting to look a little bit problematic now for Legacy, trying to capture up this first point. They've put a lot of ultis in there. Wuvo not able to get too much done with his Rocket Barrage. And Skull also similarly with the self-destruct. Nothing really comes out of those two. Blank Blue, however, have been pretty good with their own ultis. And I think that's where the difference is lying between the two teams right now. When you have a look on the side of Blank, they've come up now onto Micro's Dragon Blade, which we've already seen prove quite fruitful in the last fight. Could do so again. A lot of things to be worried about now for Legacy in this one.
Wuvo already taking damage. Cinderella, Primal Rage going through. And there's the Dragon Blade once again from Micro. This time, he won't find anyone to start things off. That sound barrier coming out from Dench makes life a lot more difficult with the Dragon Blade. Skull finds one. Gob's gone down again. Now, one less tank. Adam comes back. That's 3. Legacy going down. 30 seconds on the clock. They may not even get this first point.
No, perhaps not. They've got one more push left in them. It doesn't have much behind it either, just Strawbella with a Valkyrie, and I mean Wuvo, if he has a good fight, maybe he gets that up quickly, but right now for Legacy, things are looking pretty dire indeed, and it did look good for them in that fight, but Adam comes up with another big self-destruct out for Blank Blue. Micro wasn't able to get anything done, but then again, someone else can do it on Blank Blue, and that's the beauty of this roster. Now Legacy
alive, there you go. Goes down now into Baby Diva form. Wuvo taking a ton of damage. Skull's being picked up in the rear there, and Cinderella down as well, Jordan. Legacy can't get this.
Nope, they certainly cannot, and a Dragon Blade out to boot as well for Blank Blue. Just an insurance clause right now. They are going to be able to defend that one quite comfortably indeed. 61.4% is what Legacy have managed to achieve on the first point of Numbani, and that is that. A very good defensive side from Blank Blue. Legacy are going to have some struggles here, I think, on the defense.
Real struggle street without even going into the streets phase, as you like to call it. And very big ask now to defend this. They gave away, to be fair, they only probably gave away about 45 seconds at the start with a comp that obviously wasn't going to work for them. They switched off pretty quickly.
Quick adaptation, just they couldn't get enough done there. Well, I mean, I say that, but they were in positions where they were potentially going to win that point, particularly the one just before Adam got that big self-destruct. But then you could see Wuvo and Strawbella couldn't quite get out of the way. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult if you're in midair. You don't have anything to boost yourself off, or you can
fall down.
You can fall down, but you can't go. You need to be moving around a corner or something like that, and you don't really have a lot of horizontal mobility as a Pharah.
And there really wasn't that many. There was like 2 occasions maybe where it felt like one ultimate coming out from Blank on defense was what swapped it around. The majority of the time was really just Legacy getting picked first.
Yeah, certainly. It definitely was. I mean, for Legacy, that's something that they will need to keep an eye on. But now they just have to focus in on having probably the best defense on Numbani of their lives. This is a tough one to hold off. Wuvo seems quite confident on that Pharah. Going to be sticking with it. I have to imagine Dench will probably swap over to the Lucio here. Perhaps the Zenyatta. But really, not going to be fun, I don't think, for Legacy in this one.
No. All right, so if we take a look at this defense from Legacy, they do have one support up here on the high ground. Just powering Wuvo. Yeah, Torb in the background. So we'll see how this dive works out. If they can split up, that's a good defense to dive, not necessarily being in the one place. If you can drop back and have that firepower coming from the other side, We'll see how it works, and we'll
Well,
see whether Blank needs to adapt.
I can see this Torb working for the first push here. Maybe Blank Blue aren't going to be ready for it, aren't going to be aware of it, but not so sure how it's going to work for the next few. I guess it's going to be critical getting those armor pickups as well for the team of Legacy. They definitely don't want to be getting picked now, and they've not got 2 healers, so that's dangerous. And, well, Caramel Koala going down early to Unta. It's not a good start at all.
No, it's not the first 2 picks, well, the first pick, should I say, going over towards Blank. Wubo finds Gob. That's okay. Strawbella looking very low here, getting chased down. Adam's been picked up by Wubo. Micro still trying to stay strong. They're still on the point, looking okay, but 2 picks from Legacy might make this defense hold the first time around.
Yeah.
That's a start, Jordan.
It is indeed. Micro does go down eventually. I was going to say I thought Caramel Koala going down early was going to hurt Legacy a lot more because it meant they weren't going to have anyone to chase down those low HP targets like, for example, Micro, who did get down to, 19 HP while Caramel Koala was dead, but didn't go down in the end. Inevitably, Legacy can hold off long enough for those respawns to come in, and Caramel Koala does the job of cleaning up. Wuvo had a pretty good fight there as well, despite Strawbella going down fairly early on in the piece, and surprising to see Dench stick on this Torbjorn, but see if he can make it work. Up to 64% of the ultimate as well. Strawbella pops the Valkyrie, and Legacy, another attempt to hold on to this point.
Very early, the turret goes down. Wubo has a barrage ready as well. We'll see whether that one's needed. Goes high. Not going to use it at the moment. Micro's found Dench. He does go down, looking still good here for Legacy on defense. Barrage comes out anyway. Finds Sign. Froggy goes down in the background. That was obviously supported there by that barrage as well. Legacy holds, but
they put a lot into it,
They
Ben.
did put a lot into it. I'm not even necessarily sure that barrage was needed.
Still 0% on the board right now for Blank Blue, though. So Legacy holding on quite strong for now.
2 support ultimates ready for Blank as well. So
and you
maybe
can see
with Micro's Dragon Blade, this might be enough, Jordan.
a lot of those players on Legacy right now have got those armor pickups, so they're going to be a little bit more difficult to pick here for Blank Blue. But Micro on the Dragon Blade, let's see if he can be the one to do it.
Molten Core, you can hear coming out in the background. 2 kills going straight through. Well, that's Dench in his turret, I suppose. Micro's still alive, still going strong. But this Dragon Blade not doing too much damage. Unta goes down. Great work. With the Pulse Bomb from Caramel, and Cinderella going to use the Primal Rage to shut down that Genji. Adam does find support. Adam's still alive. Adam with the self-destruct as well, Jordan. Going to use that right on the point, trying to force them off. Stays alive, gets the remake. We'll have to see whether anyone else from Blank can get on the point and keep these hopes going, Jordan, but surely Adam gets picked up here.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big stagger as well for the Blank Blue guys. It's going to waste a little bit more time. Signed when he gets rid of the turret of Dench, but realistically speaking, I think now time is starting to get a little bit scarce for Blank Blue. And they need to regroup, they need to pull back, and they've probably got one more push left here.
So they used the barrage, they used the Pulse Bomb onto a turret that has clearly had time to be rebuilt. Neither of those feel great, to be honest.
No, definitely not. And Blank Blue really staring down the barrel of defeat right now. They had a great defensive side, but so far Legacy doing even better. The commitment now out from Blank Blue. Gob wasting a lot of time on that turret, and in the meanwhile, Adam gets demeched.
Yeah, that's not great at all. You see that Primal Rage finally getting used. Micro onto Wubo, though. Wubo getting resurrected. 3 players down for Blank. 22 seconds on the clock. Legacy looking strong, Jordan.
They are. This is looking really, really bad right now for Blank Blue. I would have never thought that they wouldn't be able to cap out this one. But Legacy, a stellar defense so far. No one has so far been able to really deal with Wubo. You can see Micro swapped off and to an extent has actually had more success than that on the Genji. But Wubo's still ruling the skies. And Strawbella with a crucial res. Wubo, though, he'll get picked. That's a bad time.
I don't understand. Why do we keep seeing this? Gob on the point. They've run out of time. It is overtime, but with 2 picks now, maybe Blank comes back from this self-destruct. You're going to get forced off the point. Sign finds another one, has a Pulse Bomb as well. Won't get anyone with that. They're looking for ticks, Jordan. Going to get demeched as well. Surely these guys go down. Surely Blank finds the win.
Well, Cindy can come in here with the Primal Rage. Maybe just in time, but the respawn only just now coming across. I think Blank Blue have done it. Legacy, they've thrown it away. It was so close. So close, Ben.
Man.
But then Wubo and Dench get picked at such a bad time there for Legacy.
I can't help but feel that sometimes the allure of a great ultimate can bait you into bad positioning.
Certainly can. Certainly can. I think if Wubo did not fire off that rocket barrage at that point, Legacy might have been in with a better shot because he went down. There was no one to back him up.
Yeah.
it just didn't work. It just did not work. Blank Blue, they saw that opportunity. They pick him off. Dench goes down as well, pushing forward with him. There was no need, I don't think, for Legacy to try and go for something that aggressive. They've been winning the fights.
Yeah.
They don't need to pick off Blank Blue so early. There was not really any ultimates either available for Blank. And Legacy, they had that one really within their grasp, but they just couldn't convert it.
So close. It felt to me like the first time that we saw them get close and lose on Nepal, that was a great play coming out from Blank.
Yeah.
Whilst this time it felt like maybe, I don't know. It's tough to close things out, right? That's part of progression, part of growing as a team is learning how to close out games against potentially better opponents, right? You're in the lead. You're like, right, I can just do this, and that's the play that I want to make, as opposed to maybe the play that is the higher percentage play.
I really thought that they were going to be able to win that one, actually, Ben, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought that that was Legacy's map. Well, initially I didn't, but, you know, once they had that such a strong defense, then I was like, okay, Blank Blue, they're really in trouble right now. But they managed to find a way, and they just take it down to the final seconds, make it a little bit more interesting for us. But now Legacy's down 0-2. They have to close out the last 2 maps if they want to push us through to that overtime, if they want to even pick up the win in this one.
I guess the 2 things that I want to take away from that, without sounding too disappointed then, to sort of turn this around, I want to say such an impressive hold, really, coming out from Legacy.
Yeah.
That is not something that we would have expected to see from them at the start of the season. So to see them take Blank all the way through to that is, to be fair, very impressive, even if the result doesn't go their way. I guess the second point to make there is really great work from when they're under pressure for Blank. It looks like they're not going to be able to bring it back. They find the picks, they find the way through, and they find the win. It is 2-0. That means we're halfway through our second match of the day. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, let's see if Legacy can take this to Game 5.